The rain hadn't stopped since morning. Black umbrellas moved like slow waves among the gravestones, and Senator Alex Padilla stood motionless as they lowered the casket into the ground. His younger brother, Alejo, had always been the louder one, the reckless one, the fighter, and now he was gone. Taken by a twisted wreck of metal on a remote mountain road, no one had any business driving at night. People said it was an accident. Rake failure, icy turn. Bad luck, but Alex couldn't let it go. Something in his gut told him this wasn't just misfortune. Alejo had been too careful lately, too secretive. After the service, as the crowd began to thin out, an old man in a beige coat approached Alex. His face was unfamiliar, but his eyes looked like they belonged to someone who'd seen too much. He handed Alex a sealed envelope. "He wanted you to have this," the man said. "He gave it to me 2 weeks ago. Told me to wait." Alex hesitated, then took the envelope. The man turned without another word and vanished between the headstones. Back in the car, Alex waited until the engine warmed. The windows fogged slightly as he tore open the envelope with fingers that trembled more than he liked to admit. Inside was a single sheet of paper, handwritten. "Don't trust any of them. The room in the basement, it was never yours. It never was. Yeah." Alex read it twice, then a third time. The handwriting was definitely Alejo's. The basement, the house in Sacramento, had belonged to the Padilla family for decades. A Spanish colonial revival, with high ceilings, creaky floors, and too many secrets. Alex knew every inch of it, or at least he thought he did. He'd grown up there. His father's study, his mother's piano, the old wine cellar. But no room ever came to mind. Still, something about the letter sent a chill down his spine. That night, once the security team had cleared out and the staff had left, Alex walked down the narrow steps to the basement alone. The familiar musty scent greeted him. Dust, wood, and cold. He flicked the light switch. The old bulbs buzzed and flickered overhead. Shelves of canned goods, stacks of newspapers, a forgotten treadmill, and then, something odd. The far wall, made of brick, didn't match the rest. The pattern was too clean, the mortar too fresh, and at the base, a small rusted metal ring. Alex knelt and tugged. With a heavy groan, a section of the wall shifted, revealing a hollow beyond. A crawl space, barely high enough to stand. Dust swirled like fog as he stepped inside. There, built into the concrete, was a locked steel door. No handle, just a keypad, and an old camera in the corner, its red light blinking faintly. The hair on his arm stood up. He stepped back. Whatever this was, it had been hidden for years, and Alejo had known. Alex looked at the letter again. "It was never yours." What the hell did that mean? Suddenly, a low creak echoed from upstairs. He turned off the light and froze. Is someone else in the house? Alex waited in the dark for nearly 5 minutes, not moving, not breathing loudly. Every floorboard creak upstairs felt like thunder, but no voices followed. No footsteps, just silence, and the faint ticking of a pipe somewhere behind the walls. When he was certain he was alone, he turned the light back on and stepped deeper into the hidden room. Dust clung to the air like old secrets. The steel door in front of him was solid and cold to the touch. Military grade by the looks of it. The keypad had no brand, no label, just 12 buttons, aged and scratched. He didn't even try to guess the code. Instead, he turned back and began examining the space. A concrete nook barely 8 feet wide. Along one side, stacked in orderly rows, were several faded cardboard boxes. They looked decades old. No markings on the outside, except for one APK's files handwritten in black ink. He opened the top box. Inside were folders, dozens of them. Yellowing paper, notes in cursive, typewritten pages, red stamps that said confidential, top priority, and even as only. One of the folders bore a chilling title: Operation Mirror, Active Shadow Assets 2003, Present. Alex flipped it open. His face paled. It was a list of names. All people he'd either worked with, seen in DC circles, or recognized from late-night news segments. Many were marked with symbols, circles, triangles, X. Beside one name, Padilla. Was a short note in bold red. Excess level, direct surrogate. Primary status, observed. Emulation protocol, cleared. He shut the file. What the hell is this? There was a tape recorder at the bottom of the box. Analog, heavy, and covered in dust. A label on the cassette read, AU Dialog, Top A7, Lionel. AP. Alex didn't dare press play. Not yet. As he pulled another folder, something else caught his eye. A photograph. Black and white. Two men shaking hands. One of them unmistakably resembled him. Same jawline, same posture, same smile. But the other man in the photo was labeled L. Gray, director. He didn't know any Lionel Gray. And yet, deep in his memory, something stirred. A name Alejo once muttered, years ago, drunkenly, during a Thanksgiving night rant about puppet strings and borrowed faces. Back then, Alex thought it was nonsense. Some metaphor. Now, he wasn't so sure. He pulled out another document. A blueprint. Not of the house, but of a facility. Underground. Labeled, Site 6B. Contingency Complex. In the margins, someone had scrawled, Original storage, relocated to Padilla residence. Per order, AF2221 Nenny Niz. Relocated. From a government site, to here. Alex leaned against the wall, breathing shallow. His head spun. Whatever this room was, it hadn't been built by his family. Someone had installed it deliberately and hidden it in a place no one would think to search. And the name on the folders, his name, wasn't coincidence. Suddenly, from upstairs, came the buzz of the front doorbell. A long mechanical hum. Then a voice. Mr. Padilla. This is Agent Cohen. With the Office of Federal Integrity. We have a few questions. Alex's blood ran cold. They weren't supposed to show up unannounced. Not without a call. Not without a warrant. He looked back at the sealed steel door. The blinking red light, the files in his hand. He had a decision to make. Fast. Alex shoved the files back into the box and pushed it into the darkest corner of the hidden space, yanked the brick panel back into place, and made it to the foyer in time to see three men in dark suits step inside. Their badges flashed too quickly to be examined. Agent Cohen was polite, too polite, asking questions that barely hid the fact they weren't here for conversation. Routine audit, he claimed. Just standard clearance review, post-election protocol. But his eyes wandered too much. One agent subtly checked the walls, another tested the hinges of a cabinet, as if looking for something behind them. Alex forced a politician's smile, deflecting, playing dumb, keeping his breath steady. When they finally left, after nearly 30 minutes of tension and feigned cooperation, Alex went straight to the security room, locked the door, and pulled up the surveillance logs from the past week. He scanned the footage from the basement camera, expecting to find nothing. Instead, at 3:47 a.m. 2 nights prior, the feed showed the panel sliding open, and a man stepping inside. Alex leaned forward, frozen. The figure was the same height, same frame. He wore a black hoodie pulled low, but the shape of the nose, the jaw, the walk, it was identical to his own. The man moved confidently, like someone who'd been in that room many times. He entered the safe area, which Alex hadn't even opened yet, and walked out 5 minutes later with what looked like a flash drive. No sign of forced entry, no security alarm, no alerts, just in and out. Alex stared at his own face on the screen, or what looked like his face. A perfect double. His mouth went dry. Who the hell was that? And more importantly, how long had he been living a life that wasn't entirely his? By the next morning, Alex Padilla wasn't just nervous, he was scared. Not of losing his career, not of headlines or enemies in the Capitol, but of the creeping realization that someone had been living inside his life, and possibly still was. He locked his house, left his phone behind, and drove himself in a borrowed car to a name Alejo had scribbled in an old notebook. Garrett Stone, a freelance journalist once blacklisted for fabricated conspiracy stories, the kind that involved defense contracts and missing congressmen. Garrett lived off-grid in a battered trailer outside Placerville, surrounded by dusty satellite dishes and stacks of newspaper clippings pinned to his walls like a detective from a forgotten movie. At first, Garrett refused to open the door, until Alex said, "I'm Alejo's brother. He's dead." That changed everything. Over lukewarm coffee, Garrett explained that in the early 2000s, there were whispers in intelligence circles about a program called Voice, an experimental operation involving facial replication, deep behavioral mimicry, voice print engineering. The goal: deploy political doubles who could attend meetings, sign bills, negotiate, disappear, all without the original ever knowing. It was all theory, Garrett said, until around 2011, when files went missing from Site 6B. Alex froze. That was the facility blueprint he'd found in the basement box. Garrett nodded grimly. Your name started appearing shortly after. Some folks thought you were recruited. Others thought you were replaced. Before Alex could respond, Garrett's satellite monitor beeped unknown signal. He scanned it, a live drone feed, circling overhead. Then came the sharp bark of tires outside, a black SUV. No plates. Garrett's eyes widened. They found us. Alex bolted out the back, heart pounding. In the distance, smoke curled from the direction of Garrett's trailer. By the time Alex made it back to the highway, he could see flames rising. Someone had torched the place within minutes. That night, back at home, a manila envelope was slid under Alex's front door. Inside, a single photo. It showed Alex, shaking hands with a foreign diplomat, smiling, but Alex had never been there. On the back, in red ink, it read, "Open the safe again, and next time, it's not your trailer that burns." Alex didn't sleep that night. He waited until 3 that a.m., when the city was quiet, and the house even quieter, then returned to the basement with a flashlight, gloves, and a growing sense that whatever he was about to find could end his life, or redefine it. He entered the crawl space, pulled back the bricks again, and this time stared at the steel keypad like it was a loaded gun. After a long breath, he typed a date, Alejo's birthday. A faint click, the door hissed, and slowly opened. The room behind it was cold and dry, sealed from time. Steel walls, a single desk bolted to the ground, and dozens of old hard drives and tapes arranged with surgical precision. On the desk sat a flash drive labeled Padilla, Origin, and beside it, a dusty VHS tape marked in Alejo's handwriting. Play when you're ready. Don't trust your reflection. Alex pocketed the drive, but stayed frozen for a full minute before sliding the tape into the recorder on the wall. The screen crackled. Alejo appeared, tired, eyes sunken, sitting in what looked like the same room. "If you're watching this," he said, "then I'm gone, and you're starting to feel it." The gaps in your memory, the déjà vu, the questions you've never asked, because someone taught you not to. He leaned in. You're not who you think you are, Alex. Or maybe you were, once, but that version of you was marked, replaced. I tried to stop it. I got too close. That's why they came for me. The tape cut to static, then to grainy footage of a lab, medical beds, men with identical faces. One of them, unmistakably Alex, being injected while strapped down. Another walked past in a suit. The voiceover continued. Your double was activated in 2016. They call it selective augmentations, not full cloning, not full replacement. You're a composite now, an algorithm in skin. Alex stared in horror as the video showed his double, standing at a podium, giving a speech he barely remembered delivering. He fell back against the wall, dizzy. Every speech, every vote, every meeting in the past 9 years. How much of it was him? How much was engineered? The VHS ended with one final frame. Alejo whispering, eyes wide with fear. They didn't just copy you, Alex. They copied your future. Alex didn't remember dialing the number, but his fingers moved on. Instinct. The kind born from panic, not planning. And within 20 minutes, he was in a parked car, 2 blocks from the Capitol, speaking in a low voice to Senator Lorraine Vega, one of the few people in D.C. who still seemed untouched, unbought, and unafraid. He told her just enough to earn a meeting. The basement, the video, the fact that someone who looked like him had walked into classified briefings without his knowledge. Lorraine didn't sound shocked. She only said, "Meet me tomorrow. Come alone." But Alex never made it to that meeting. That night, at precisely 2, his private landline, one no one ever used, rang once. He answered. The voice on the other end was, "Is not similar, not close, identical. Don't do this," the voice said calmly. "You're going to ruin everything we built." Alex froze. "Who is this?" he whispered. "You know who," the voice said. "You've always known. You were just too proud to admit it." The line went dead. No caller ID, no trace. In a haze of disbelief and terror, Alex ran to his laptop, plugged in the flash drive labeled Padilla, Origin, and opened the only file inside, a document called Continuity Protocol Phase 3. What he saw made his stomach turn. Detailed strategies for dual-life political actors, instructions on maintaining illusion through coordinated press, behavior syncing, pre-scheduled neural conditioning. In one section, target believes he is original. This is essential. Breaks in illusion result in psychological degradation or exposure. Failsafe is memory collapse or removal. He stared at that sentence for what felt like hours. The program didn't just create doubles, it erased originals, or merged them. He looked into the dark screen, saw his reflection, and didn't know if it was still him. Outside his window, headlights flared. A van idled across the street, inside silhouettes, watching, waiting. He was no longer asking, "What's real?" but "Am I?" The next morning, Alex Padilla packed a single bag, deleted every digital trace he could, and drove west toward the mountains, away from D.C., away from the Capitol, away from the questions clawing at his skull. But at the edge of Nevada, in a rundown motel with flickering lights and a broken lock, he found one last envelope, waiting at the reception desk. No name, no return address, just the words, "For Alex, the real one." Inside was a mini DV tape, and a printed still frame from it. His brother Alejo, looking gaunt, his eyes wet. Alex borrowed an old camcorder from the motel owner, and played the tape, hand shaking. On screen, Alejo sat in the same underground room, speaking fast, like time was running out. "They call it continuity," he said. "But it's erasure. They don't kill you, they overwrite you. The thing is, they couldn't do it without your cooperation." He looked directly into the lens. "You signed the clearance forms. You said yes to enhanced cognitive mapping. You wanted the edge, the recall, the focus. You just didn't read the last page. Alex's mouth went dry. Alejo leaned closer. So here's the truth. They didn't replace you, brother. They installed you. You're the copy. The words hit like a brick through glass. The real Alex. The one I grew up with. He vanished in 2017. I tried to stop it. I failed. I'm sorry. Static swallowed the screen. Silence followed. And Alex, or whatever he was, stared at his own reflection in the dark motel mirror. He looked the same. He breathed. He remembered pain, childhood, Alejo. But now he wondered, were those memories implanted? Were they harvested from the real Alex? And most terrifying of all, did it matter anymore? Behind him, outside, the same black SUV waited. They weren't hiding now. The system wasn't afraid of him, because maybe it owned him. He stood up, wiped the dust from his suit, and walked toward the door. Whatever he was, man, copy, ghost, he had one move left, not to run, but to expose everything, or burn with it.